Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Shed Organics Show. Today's guest is a young and up and coming wildlife naturalist phenomenon. That's what I'm calling him. He's a really, really interesting guy. His name is Sam, and I came across his profile with some amazing wildlife photography. Now, he's only 17, still in school at the point in time where this is coming out. And a big part of what I love to do is highlight some of the youth, I guess, and talk up the next generation in nature awareness, I guess is what I would call it. Gardening, all of the things that I love, talking about people that are passionate and that are, youthful and motivating, inspiring, and hopefully trying to make more young people get involved in this kind of space. And Sam is definitely one of those people. So I really wanted to highlight him and get a chance to understand what makes him tick and how he got into doing all of this cool stuff. Um, I thought going into this that he was just, I wouldn't say just a wildlife photographer, but solo focused on wildlife photography. But there's so much more to Sam's story, which you'll find out very, very soon, and all of the things that he's involved in. He's already got a wealth of knowledge and an understanding and a relationship with nature that a lot of us are still trying to connect with or get back to. So let's jump into it. Let's see what Sam has to say. I'm sure you're going to enjoy this conversation. So, without further ado, here is Sam Hall. Talk to me about wildlife photography as like something of an interest at such a young age? Were you exposed to that, like, was someone else in your family into it, or someone you know, or how did you find it as a thing to do, and why is that now a passion thing?
It was definitely from like a very young age. My dad has like a degree in marine biology. He goes and
Wow.
like works with zebrafish and stuff. So I remember
Sick.
some of my earliest memories, which is animals in general, would like go over to his workplace and there'd be occasionally like stonefish or like cone snails in these tanks. And it'd be really cool just to look at. And then I remember we also watched a ton of mainly David Attenborough as well.
Yes.
Um, which really like sparked an interest. And we talked to a couple of my dad's work friends as well who run the Queensland Naturals Club. So we'd go out with them and go on all these camps and like different trips to like go find a ton of animals. So we'd spend like weeks at a or like a week at a time in these like different locations, finding all these different animals. And like the most fun part was just like from like 5 years old, just going out and trying to like catch a skink somewhere or find
Wow.
some like rare frog at night. But yeah, that
That's
was yeah.
that's awesome, man. That's exposure like at its finest. Dad taking you out on all sorts of trips and expeditions. Like that's being fully immersed in it, isn't it? From like and appreciating
Yeah.
nature and the animals and everything that you're seeing and having other people around that are really interested in it makes you kind of go like soak all that up and get the excitement of it as well. Um,
Yeah.
are you like, I guess like were you just taking photos of the experience once you kind of got to an old enough age to kind of go, I want to capture this? Is that how it works?
Honestly, I didn't even think of taking photos for the first like up until like maybe a couple of months ago. I'd go on all these camps and honestly my point was just, oh, I want to catch this animal. I want to like hold a frog. I want to like sit. I was very like hands-on, like I want to
Mm,
go and do this. And then I think it started around November last year. We have like an old Nikon camera and we got like for really cheap this old 300 millimeter lens, and I thought
nice.
it'd be fun to just go around and take some photos, see how much I could actually capture with this thing. I
Mm,
remember specifically a rainbow lorikeet had like landed on the fence really close by, and I tried to take a photo, and immediately like I saw how close I was able to get with that lens, and
mm.
I was like thought, wait, maybe I can actually like go and find more birds. I can actually get these photos now I've seen in these like field guide books and stuff. I wonder if I can do that for like a ton more species. And
Hmm.
then I kind of just like honed it in. I bought better gear like a month later, and yeah, been doing that for like only 5 months or so now.
Yeah, well, it's crazy how good you are for having done 5 months. And but like you say, there's a lot of these I mean, it's not taking any credit away from you as a photographer, but a lot of these cameras and lenses do some amazing, like you said, they can just zoom right in and get some wicked detail pretty not easily, but like relative, like they're very good. So when you're equipped with the right gear, you have to spend a lot of time getting to know that gear, practicing with it and trialing all the different things, working out how do I get the best lighting, how do I stop it from being blurry, all of these simple things that most people don't really think about once you see that final shot. Um, Tell me why, like, why birds? Because they seem I mean, I love birds and have had a big upbringing with like my grandmother was very, good at identifying birds. She'd take me bird watching sometimes and just kind of like go and try and find some species and see some rare ones and things. Like the kingfisher was a big one that we used to love. Like I think I saw a photo of that on there
Yeah,
somewhere
yeah.
you've got. But
They're definitely one of my top birds. They're so much fun because they're so like colorful and when you actually see them, they're just a pop of like blue in the green.
Mm,
Yeah.
true. It's so nice, isn't it? So, like that one specifically for me. But why birds specifically, I guess, and like, how difficult are they to take photos of?
Birds, the main reason I started with birds was just because they were there. There was something that was like everywhere that I was like, oh yeah, there's a bird on the fence. I can take that.
Mm,
It was something I could go anywhere and find different birds, no matter where. Whereas originally, like I started off being mainly interested in reptiles, like snakes and lizards especially.
yeah.
Um, but I found there's like snakes are a lot harder to find. If I only went for snakes, I'd have like 3 photos on my Instagram at the moment.
Yeah.
But birds, yeah, I got that like lens. I saw the lorikeet and I just went around. I went around the park at the bottom of my road and tried some magpies and stuff. And since then, I've never really like thought about birds as like that interesting until then. I like saw them like, oh, it's a cool bird. And then you really, once you're taking the photos, you start to like recognize the bird species. You start to like learn about them because you're like, oh, what's this bird? Let me look it up. And it
Yeah.
becomes so much more interesting. And then you get like the challenge of it too, because a lot of them are like very fast moving. You have to learn how to like get your settings properly so you can capture the like split second moment. And it becomes more interesting, more challenging, and more rewarding.
That's really cool. Yeah, I totally can relate to the interest that you get from it once you start diving into something a little bit more. Like, and then yeah, you get, well, for me, I get obsessed with different things, and I'm just like, oh, and then you can go do this and figure that out, and so then you end up getting all of this understanding just by watching, because essentially that's what you're doing, eh? You're observing nature and just trying to capture different behaviors or different things. Like, it's also nice to just, you just see them like having no idea their picture's being taken, just doing what they naturally do, and they just look amazing. It's really nice to be able to capture that in detail that not many of us get to see. Um, with the frogs and the reptiles, man, like, yeah, I have to mention the fact that I saw you with that snake, like just picking one up. But I think you said, oh, it like looks like a pet or something, but or like I just I'm a pretty, cautious person when it comes to snakes. I'm not going near one if I see one. Like, how do you pick one up and just have that confidence, or is it that exposure you've been into like the whole time?
Really a lot to do with the exposure. Like I was never at a point where like people in my life like, oh yeah, snakes are scary. You should be scared of them. You should try and avoid them. It was always like, oh, they're this like interesting thing that we should like learn more about, get to know more. But the one specifically I picked up was more of like a special case. I remember we were checking Facebook. It was about February last year, and someone had posted on like the local snake site that they'd seen a wormer python up on Mount Coot-tha. So we're looking at that, and they're not a native species to the area. They live like further north.
Right.
So like it was obviously someone's pet that they'd like released, and it wasn't going to survive out there. So
Wow.
we got up at like 5 a.m. in the morning, before I went to school that day.
Whoa,
Drove over to Mount Cootha, went we spent like half an hour looking through like the bushes to try and find it. Then we found it. I picked him up, put him in the bag, and we took him down to the RSPCA to get him rehomed.
that's amazing. Like, wow. Yeah. It must be insanely difficult finding a snake on Mount Cootha. Like, it's a massive place. Unless you had some like pretty detailed, like we last saw it here 5 minutes ago. It's like, I find that just fascinating, and the fact that you can just go and pick it up. You obviously know enough about them from hanging out with dad and stuff, and doing your own research to figure out that you can just go and pick that up. It's not like a brown snake, which you just posted about a brown snake, didn't you?
It was brown tree snake I got like 2 days ago. I went on a camping trip with one of my friends. It was storming, which is when we got to the site, it was completely storming, so like everything was drenched. So it
Yeah.
made setting up the tents almost impossible. But literally, I remember my friend was going out brushing his teeth by a bush, and he calls me over. It's like, look, there's a snake on the bush. Luckily, I had brought my camera with. I almost didn't because of how wet it was. But
Yeah.
I'm glad I did because it's the first brown tree snake I've probably seen in my life.
That's amazing. Yeah, well, always pack your camera, man. You never know when there's going to be
Yeah.
a when there's going to be something to capture. But like, you're right though. You don't see these things very often, especially the snakes. And going back to what you said before about birds being more kind of common. How how long are you spending out there trying to find some of these species to either, whether it's like a mission that you're going out to try and spot some or do some conservation work or whatever it is, or whether you're just trying to take a photo. How long can it take you? Like how do you know where to look? Are you just waiting there until someone like something just walks past in front of you?
It really depends on the location, the species. So I'll go out for when I go out for birds, I usually have like a species in mind that I want to find, and I go to a spot where I've like checked the eBird before. eBird's a really good platform. You get loads of people uploading their sightings, so you know like, oh, this bird was seen this spot at this time. So I'll go out, maybe spend probably about 3 hours is the sweet spot looking for like a species, photographing anything else I see on the way.
Hmm.
Or sometimes I've got like two key spots that I'll just go to in the morning if I've got nothing else to do. I'll just spend like 2 hours down there trying to see what turns up and see if I get anything worth it.
That's cool. And are you on your own?
Well, it depends. Sometimes my younger brother's got my like old lens that I started on now, so I'll take him with sometimes. Other times, if I'm going for frogs, I'll go like really late at night. For frogs, like I know where to find them. You can hear the call, so they're easy to find. It only takes like an hour to go around, get a few. I'll
Wow.
usually go on my own then because it'll be like late at night, or go with a couple of friends. But
That's crazy. You're going out into the bush at night. Like obviously you feel comfortable with that enough, like just to kind of wander out and if you see something. I think it goes back to what you said before about not having a fear behind things. Um, I've got a couple of guests coming up. I don't want to do a spoiler alert because the episodes won't be out just yet, but they're, people that work with things like snakes, for example, and scary, seemingly very scary animals. And it's like, for me, a big one for me is like definitely snakes. Like I've never held a snake, and it's just like this. It feels like an innate, built-in kind of fear and a lot of humans have it, right? It's one of the most if you said what are the most common things people are scared of, it'd be like snakes and spiders or something. And I think like growing up around somewhere where you're not taught this fear and you're taught more of a fascination, it's definitely like a genetic thing, it seems, because like yourself and probably like is dad the same? Like can he just go and pick up a snake if he wants to?
not much of a problem with it. But he wouldn't pick up one that like in the wild randomly. He would make sure like the control it was a controlled environment.
Fair point. Same with you?
Right. Yeah, I don't have as much of an objection to like a wild snake if I know what it is, but like most of the time I wouldn't do it out of like the principle of you don't want to like disturb it or.
Mm-hmm.
But the actual picking up I don't really have a problem with. I still think it's pretty
So you
fun.
don't have that fear?
No, I've got three pet snakes at the moment.
Oh man. What kind of snakes?
I've got two spotted pythons and a Woma python as well. But
Wow.
I genuinely don't know why snakes particularly, but just ever since I was like a kid, I don't even remember when it started, but snakes have just been the peak like fascination for me. Like I've wanted to like go hold them, go interact with them, go take photos of them.
Wow. That, like I
Yeah.
said, that's the opposite of what I feel, and like probably a lot of people feel. So, like, if you've never felt it, it's probably hard to answer this question. But like, how do you have to kind of push past any kind of fear, or are you just that's just learned? It's just easy for you, like it would be for me to go and see, like, go near a bird or a dog, for example. I don't know.
Pretty much. It's pretty much like you'd handle any other animal. I don't see like a difference between it. It's just like you go pick it up and it's that like a dog or like something small like a guinea pig or something. It doesn't really change based on what animal it is.
Wow, amazing. You get to learn the animal too, hey? And
Oh yeah, you
like,
definitely get to like see the personalities of them, especially my two spotted pythons. Because one of them's like the tamest, the calmest animal you've seen in your life. The other one thinks anything that comes near it is food, and it'll try and bite you occasionally.
wow,
Um, only because it like thinks you're food generally. Like it's not aggressive or anything, but it's still like these two snakes look almost identical and one of them I can just stick my hand at, it'll crawl right up my arm. The other one I have to like be really careful, like maneuver it around so I don't get bitten. It's completely
uh,
different
yeah,
experiences, yeah.
true. You'd have variance within species, and like, yeah, I mean, you see it like with dogs is a really easy one for people to understand. They, have a relationship with a dog, and even kids, you got twins or something. Two kids can be like twin brothers or something, can grow up completely different, even though they might look the same. But
Yeah.
that's a really interesting point, man. I think like with is that something you kind of want to take a bit further, seeing as like it is kind of a niche thing to not be so scared of it? Is that something, seeing being one of your big interests, is that something you see yourself running with a little bit?
Yeah, definitely. I really want to go out to like Western Australia or something at some point. Get probably like a good macro setup to get the snakes and stuff close up. And honestly, it'd be amazing to go out and photograph lizards as well. Like any sort of reptile, really build like a lot more of that on my page. Still like keep with as many birds as well, but like just add like some more diversity to it and really hone
Mm-mm.
in on snakes.
Yeah, because as you say, they are harder to find. So you'll get going hunting for snakes, you'll find a few birds you can take photos of on the way as well, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Cool. Well, let's talk a little bit about like photography for a second. Um, this not being a very photography based thing, I don't want to dive too much down the technicalities of like taking a photo and things like this, but tell me a little bit about your process of trying to capture a good shot. What sort of things are you thinking about? Like, what are your top, like, if you had to give me a few tips as a beginner photographer trying to take photos of wildlife in general. So I know you can get real specific depending on what it is, but if I had my camera, I just bought a lens or something and I wanted to start snapping a few photos. What are some hot tips?
Feel like first of all it's always light. Light is like the most important thing you're going to get, especially with these like long telephoto lenses which you need to use for wildlife.
Mm,
They don't let in as much, even nearly as much light as like most other lenses on the market, so you want to get on a bright sunny day, usually like early morning or late afternoon, when you get like some nice like warm light
mm,
and a background as well, like you see a bird on a perch, you're going for that. You can either have like sticks in the background and create like a really messy image. You want to like maneuver yourself where you're like moving around, so you've got like a clean, ideally like a green solid color background, or
mm.
depending on the type of shot you're trying to get, obviously. But for those like simple bird on a perch shots, that's really what you're going for.
Yeah, you can have that kind of like, well, I've seen on your profile, it looks very clean because of the backgrounds. Um, that's why like a bird flying in the sky on clear blue background looks really good, right?
Yeah, yeah. got no distractions. It's just like the bird is the central subject, draws all your focus in immediately, and you're really focused on the bird and nothing else.
So color background and light are two things to focus on. What, anything else that I could?
Oh, definitely. I feel the important one there is obviously going to be shutter speed too. You need the light as well to make sure you can have a high enough shutter speed to capture the action when it happens. Because obviously birds move insanely fast when they want to. They can like I remember one specific instance. I'm photographing one of those kingfishers on a perch, and I've got everything set up. I'm like taking the photos, and then it just takes off. It flies straight towards me. I didn't even have enough shutter speed to like capture the action, so I just have like a blue blur coming towards me. It's gonna be one of my best shots. But yeah, I didn't have my shutter speed high enough. So I reckon,
Right.
yeah, you want something definitely above 1/1600th of a second.
Jeez,
Um,
that's quick.
yeah,
True, because it's like happening so fast, so the shutter speed, the
yeah.
bang when it opens the shutter, it needs to be real quick. And like you say, you can be set up as much as you like, and spending an hour finding this bird, and then set up for like a good few minutes or however long it takes to get the perfect shot and the angle and the focus and everything, and then you blink and it's gone.
I can't tell you how many times you've been walking up to this bird. I've finally found it after this much time. Go to raise the camera, it's gone.
Oh,
Completely left.
man, do you then chase it again? Like, are you trying to then track it down for a bit to see where it lands and then kind of, I suppose you can if you can see it, but
I mean, a lot of the time, yeah, something I really want to go for. Definitely, I'll like sneak towards it, like occasionally, like crouch down and like try and move towards it slowly. But then
mm,
a lot of the time, they'll just like dart off into the bush or fly like way too far away, and you just don't see them again.
damn. Yeah, that would be pretty difficult. But like something like a frog, like you said, you can find it easier, and I mean they can hop pretty fast when they
Yeah.
want to, but like you can still track them, right?
Pretty much, yeah. Frogs are way easier to get the photos of generally. I feel like the main problem with frogs is finding them in the first place because the conditions especially have to be perfect for the frogs to come out. You need it to be like raining, you need a like semi-permanent pool of water because they only come out when they're trying to mate and then lay their eggs.
Yeah.
So a lot of the time, the park that I go to photograph frogs at, there's a specific area of it that floods every time it like rains hard, but only when it's like flooded. I can only ever find frogs when you go down there. It's like knee deep water.
Really?
It's still raining. Then you've got like tons of frogs. And you can just walk around. They're not going to do much, so you can just like get really close, take photos. But it's actually waiting for those conditions. So I only get maybe 4 days a month where the frogs are actually going to be out.
Yeah, true. It does make a big difference, doesn't it? So you're not necessarily going out into the field completely blind. You know when they like to be out, where you're most likely going to find them, and like you said, using internet sites where people have done sightings and things like that. What was that website you said? And is there any other ones that are good for this type of thing?
The eBird is like obviously the best one for birds. You can upload your own stuff. I've uploaded a couple of mine before, but it's perfect because you can check any location, check the time frame before like when the pictures were posted, when the sightings were seen. And then if you want to go for other stuff, iNaturalist is a good
Yeah.
one. I
Yeah.
haven't used it too much myself, but I know a lot of people who do. It
Hmm.
also you can get your like pictures published in like papers and stuff from that one too.
Wow.
So it's always a good one to either check before or upload your own stuff to.
Yeah, I've definitely heard of iNaturalist before, but you said eBird is the other one. So
eBird, yeah.
yeah.
eBird's definitely my go-to. I use
Uh,
it anytime I go to a new spot. I always like check over the list and see like what's available. Yeah, whether or not I should bring my camera.
Well, you should always bring your camera. We just worked that out when you're a
Yeah, I
camping
think I
trip.
learned that the other day.
That's great. So like a lot of your photos you're taking obviously on good gear, right? So tell
Yeah.
me a little bit about using, say, like if like I use my phone, right, to take photos, my iPhone. It's an older iPhone. Um, but like if I wanted to try and create sort of the best kind of photos on an iPhone, like or some like a handheld phone or something like this, is there any settings that I can change to make sure it looks better or like it's pretty much a point and shoot style, isn't it?
I feel like for phone cameras, definitely. You can get pretty cheap cameras where you can like mess around with the settings and you don't have to like buy all this like difficult gear. I mean, even on phone cameras, I don't know, I don't use my phone camera really. It's pretty bad. But
Yeah, fair.
I don't even use it to like take pictures of like myself or anything. It's that bad that half the time you press the shutter, it just doesn't take the photo. But
Right.
I know on at least like newer Apple phones, you can go. I'm pretty sure you can change like aperture and stuff, so you have
Right.
some control over what the photo looks like in the end. But
Mm.
generally, I feel like even investing in like a small like $200 handheld camera, if you can change the settings, will give you a lot of control. Like go for a low aperture if you want like in focus face, blurred background, or yeah, you can. I don't know how well you can change shutter speed on them, but
Yeah, but that's a good point though. Like the phone is very you're very limited to what it can do, which
yeah,
is it's great for just snapping something quick, but if you want something that's probably a little bit better looking, then you need to go for like yeah, a better looking camera.
I feel like at the moment the biggest weakness of phones is really just the zoom. Like if you got like something really close up to you, frogs you could honestly do all right, I reckon, with the phone camera if you're like in the right light, had a good flash on your phone, because you can get up close to them. But birds, I think you're
Yeah,
not going to do too well with
you'll struggle, eh? Yeah.
yeah, definitely.
Um, are you using a flash?
For frogs, yeah, I am. I have been looking into getting an external flash, but at the moment I'm just using my built-in in-camera one,
Yeah.
which works pretty well for me. Although sometimes it casts like an annoying shadow on the bottom of the image, so I have to like angle the camera until like it fixes that.
Mm-hmm.
But apart from that, it works pretty well for me.
That's cool. Yeah, because you, well, obviously, if it's dark, you want to try
Yeah,
and light up the subject. But it's like some things like the light might actually scare them away or things like this. So you got to be, I suppose you got to be
yeah,
careful. And like you said, you don't want to get too close to some snakes if you're taking photos of them. You want to just leave them naturally and birds.
yeah, definitely. Yeah,
Yeah,
I
man.
mean the flash as well. It gives it like the nice black background, whereas usually frogs are gonna be on like plants covered in leaves. You're gonna have like a lot of distractions. But with the flash, it
Mm.
just illuminates the subject and you get everything like black. So it helps with the solid color that works for birds too.
True. I didn't even think about that. That's very true. What sort of species are you chasing at the moment? What are you trying to, what's your next like goal for taking photos?
My next goal is definitely the azure kingfisher. It's
Cool.
the nice like bright purple with like an orange belly.
Wow.
It's been like my nemesis species for a while because every time I go after it, it just flies away immediately or doesn't show up at all. I've been to a couple of spots for it. I've like heard them calling. I've even seen one like fly across the path. Never gotten like one perched anywhere near me, and I've
Oh
been like
man,
a ton of times. So if I could get anything to happen in like the next couple of weeks, it would definitely be one of those.
that's so cool. Well, beautiful birds, eh? So,
Yeah.
to be able to be graced with their presence, considering they're not around very much and stuff, then yeah, I mean, you like obviously you're young, you're are you 17? Is that right?
Yeah, 17.
Yeah, that's crazy. So, last year of school.
Yeah, yeah. Graduate end of the year, so
That's amazing. And it's so cool that I think I said to you before, like just want to highlight younger people doing amazing things.
yeah.
Like it's so cool that you are doing something so needed for younger people to start showing how cool it can be and like what's amazing and what's out there. Um, are you planning on doing anything post school, like for study wise in this area?
Yeah, I'm looking hopefully do some sort of degree involving like actual like biology field work, going out working with the animals in the field. Don't know exactly what yet. I've got to like hone that in, but yeah, definitely in that area where I can also take the camera out, get some good shots while doing that as well. Get all in one.
Yeah, that would be living the dream, wouldn't it? To be able to go out and do all of that. I'm sure you can find stuff, and I
Yeah.
still don't know what I want to be. I'm always
That
changing
makes it
my
better for
mind.
me then too.
Yeah, so like you can try one thing, try something else, but listen to me or being old and not offering advice. Um, what I wanted to touch on like about that is like, are you? with your social presence, like I know you're kind of new into this, like only starting to post photos last year, but it really like it stood out to me already. Like, like I said, how good you are at this. And um, what is your like what are your plans moving forward with the sort of social media presence, and what are you hoping to achieve with like I guess photography and other things?
I mean, I definitely want to expand more on social media in general. Like, I want to start doing YouTube as well. I feel like filming like actual content, taking like behind the scenes, showing the process of getting the photos and everything,
Yes.
would be really fun. Expanding to like more of a brand as well, more personalized. Doing. I've got an idea as well. I've started working on a trading card game,
Cool.
featuring like my own wildlife photos as well that I want to get produced.
That's a
And
great idea.
yeah, I feel like at the end of the year as well, I'll be graduated, so I can go out, do like a bit of traveling for a bit, go to all these new spots, get all these new species, and yeah, pretty much focus on that as like a big like surge in
Mm.
producing content and stuff.
I believe you because, obviously you're under time constraints at the moment with being in
Yeah.
school. So when you get that freedom to kind of go out there and you might need to go away for a couple of days somewhere to go and stay in a location and try and hunt something down. And I can like at least vouch for myself. I would definitely watch you behind the scenes going and finding these things, like just taking me along for the journey, saying, "Hey, like this snake, we're gonna go find this snake," and you like sort of go through the process of trying to find it, and then even the disappointment of not finding it, and then going, "Oh, like we've been out here 2 days now and we still haven't found this goddamn snake," like that. That's awesome to watch. I think that would be really cool, selfishly, for me to see. But
I think I'm gonna have to do it.
yeah, please do it. That would be really cool. Um, what about, okay, let's go back because I want to hear a little bit more about maybe not necessarily like your dad's work and things like this, but more about some of the things that you were able to be exposed to, some of the things that you were able to go on and things like that. Do you have any other stories of going out with dad that are fun or interesting?
So mainly it was through like the whole Queensland Naturals Club. It was really useful because we had all these like leading experts in like different fields and different animals. So I remember specifically, it's probably like 7 years ago or something now. There was like this one we were all camping by some like watering hole. It was like out kind of towards the outback, and we had these like bat experts who were setting up these huge like net traps, and we just sit around as like the bats would fly in, and then the going this was like for their jobs and stuff. I don't know exactly what it was, but pretty much they'd go like find the bats, like record the species, they'd
Hmm.
like pick them up out of the bottom of these traps, record all the species, and then they do like a little show and tell where they get like all the it was a lot of very old people as well. I feel like it's also that's a pretty old people dominated field in general. But they'd
Mm.
like get all everyone together like around the fire and then show all like the animals they'd caught in the traps, record the data, and then release them. And it was just really cool to be able to get that close to like these tiny microbats, all these like lizards that I didn't know were out here, and frogs as well.
Wow, man. Like that kind of experience is amazing. I know you say like, like I said, I jokingly talk about it as well, being like something that you get into in later life, having a fascination with this. But I think that comes down to the fact that you appreciate the little things, you appreciate nature, and you realize that that connection is what we all need. And sitting, like I consider myself an old soul, I guess, for that reason. But I'd love to go, sit around the fire and talk about all these things and watch all these beautiful creatures and that kind of thing. But like you said, you're loving it and enjoying it at whatever you said before, age 10. Like that's it's just showing that it actually can be appreciated by all ages, even though it does tend to be I guess like, those of us in later life that tend to gravitate towards doing these things and have the freedom of time to be able to do them. But um, do you reckon that's the case as well? Are you thinking that it's just like something that innately we want to go and connect with people and nature and be out there and that kind of thing?
Think so, definitely. I feel like everyone has like some sort of appreciation for it, even if you don't realize it. People want dogs, they want cats, they want pets, some sort of connection, like another living thing that isn't a person. They like keep
Mm,
plants as well. And then I feel like a lot of people, yeah, don't get the chance to actually spend a lot of time doing it until like, yeah, they get older. Especially I know as well, like a lot more young people could definitely benefit from going out and looking at birds, but it's so I think it's so stereotyped as like, oh yeah, you're too young to be doing that. You'll go do that when you're retired. And
mm.
then yeah, people don't get into it until very late in life.
So true. How did you approach like I guess, friends are people that support you no matter what, but how did you approach people like at school and kind of how do you explain to them what you do and do they find it cool or are they interested or do they go, "Oh, that's an old person thing," or like how do you get reactions to it?
I mean, you get the old person thing as a joke most of the time. But no, I've had a lot of positive reactions. I know a couple of guys at school mentioned, oh yeah, no, my grandma follows you and she actually loves your stuff. I've had a
That's
couple
awesome.
of my friends, but a lot of my friends I'll actually go out with occasionally and do that stuff with. Like some of them will come with me and we'll go try and find a kingfisher together. We went up to O'Reilly's for a week at the end of
Awesome.
last year, and pretty much I'd go out like I'd bring my camera with wherever we went on the walks and stuff. People would me like set up, hold like a torch if we found like a frog or something, or I could like grab the shot and everyone's yeah, really helpful, very supportive and actually like interested in it, which is really fun. And it's good to have those sorts of people around.
You're absolutely right. I guess like, it's something that you don't see every day. So your friends are going to be interested. And like if you're passionate about something and you're like showing how cool it can be, then it draws people in and they can get interested in it. Um and then you just get like recognized for doing what you do and being good or interesting at something. Like yeah, I guess the what it makes me think of is kind of the having supportive friends is obviously a really, really good thing, but it just doesn't tend to be like that in modern day society. We're very often like combative against each other. We don't listen to each other's opinions and we don't give each other enough pats on the back and claps for the cool things that everyone's doing. Um, you're in Brisbane, aren't you? So like, I went to school here as well. And like it's so much has kind of I guess changed now with social media and being able to be on there as a presence from an early age and kind of go, this is what I do. Did you find yourself coming up against any anxiety putting yourself out there? A lot of, sorry?
There's definitely a feeling of it when you're like putting out this content, especially when you get more to like the thing of YouTube and putting reels with your face in as well. It's like actually showing more of who you are, not just these birds.
Mm,
But it's definitely like a fear as well. Like, what are these people going to think of everything that you're putting out? But honestly, it's once you actually go through and do it, it's really rewarding experience. You don't get, I at least haven't received any negativity at all on it. It's all been positive, and as well as that, you meet like through social media, you meet way more people who are interested in the same things. Like I know people now that I've met through social media who will like comment on all my stuff, I'll comment on theirs, we'll support each other through that. And they're people that I would have never even thought to like never even had the chance to meet or interact with if it wasn't for like social media and seeing that they're also interested in this particular fields as well. So
totally.
it has the potential to be harmful, but it also can be really helpful at the same time.
I love that attitude, man. That's really, really good. And even if you do get negativity, like it's only a reflection of them, you're still getting an overwhelming wave of positivity. And I think it's just important to highlight because a lot of people do have passions for things. Whether they're at a young any age really any kind of age they've got a passion and they're just a little bit kind of intimidated to go out there on a limb and share it and talk about it and post about it and having more people like yourself like who you kind of go yeah it can be a little intimidating but as you say like once you've gone out and done it there's so much reward that comes back from it then you feel really good and you find your tribe of people, you find more people that are interested in what you do, and then it gets really a whole lot better and it gets really worth it. Um, for me, like I can, as I said, I can talk quite happily. I really don't take a second thought to what people, I guess, whether their judgments are good or bad, as long as I'm having fun. I obviously want to make a really positive impact, in a lot of ways and help as many people as I can. But then, I sort of take each positive and negative with a pinch of salt. Like it is what it is. That's just their opinion. As long as I'm happy with doing what I'm doing and trying to bring positivity and make change, then that's the best thing. Is there something that you like that where you have like a purpose to kind of doing sharing the content? Is it obviously we all want to try and broaden our horizons and get into new things and expand our careers and all of this type of thing. But like, do you with the whole conservation thing and going out with the naturalist groups and things, you've obviously got an appreciation for learning and then sharing information. Is that something that you're hoping to try and do as well?
Yeah, definitely. I think it comes down to a lot of, as well, like most people, you'll walk down the street and you'll see like a magpie or something, and you're not gonna give it like a second thought. You're gonna go, oh yeah, that's a magpie. You're gonna walk past.
Hmm.
Especially with like, you see ibises and gulls as well. They have like a reputation for being particularly like dirty or like unhygienic birds. But as well, like if you see a picture of them, you show like pretty much anyone a picture of them in like their natural habitat doing something amazing like outside of, like, you really, it shows you like a different perspective on the bird, and you see it as more than just like an inconvenience. With
Hmm.
magpies and especially plovers as well, people go, oh yeah, no, that's gonna swoop me, I'm gonna stay away. Like I've talked to shown people a picture of like a plover before, and they go, oh yeah, those are the ones that are gonna swoop me, right, and peck my eyes out. And it's like you show a completely different side of the bird, so people learn that these animals aren't like something unhygienic or something scary. You get that a lot with snakes too. Like you show them under a completely different lens what they are in their natural habitat, and it can really change people's perspectives on it, I think.
That's cool. You're definitely helping change my perspective on reptiles and like not to be scared of them. Because like that's, yeah, as I said, an innate kind of fear for me. Um, do you do you see yourself kind of doing yeah, like you said, a more personal brand thing? Like, are you gonna kind of go out there and help share some of like, like one person I think of is Steve Irwin, for example, and everybody obviously knew Steve Irwin for doing that type of thing, and he's kind of one in a million type person. But you can see his son Bob, like who's obviously being talked about a lot at the moment for different reasons.
Yeah.
He's now like following in those footsteps and kind of with that exposure, being shown the love and respect to all of these animals, can go out there and dance around with crocodiles and snakes and all sorts of things. So it takes a certain type of person, is what I'm getting at, to go out and do that. And like I said earlier, I think, do you see yourself trying to really kind of capture that type of person, trying to dispel a lot of that fear through your content?
I think so, definitely. Really, it's a lot about, yeah, showing what the animal is really to like as many people as you can, really showing that they're actually something that needs to be like protected and that we need to learn more about. Yeah, and pretty much just displaying that to as many people as possible. And if you can get like a couple of people to go, wow, I didn't know that. This is really interesting. Didn't know this birds did that. Wow, I didn't know snakes like that. Maybe we shouldn't just kill all these snakes. Then you've done your job pretty much.
Mm, you're right, man. And do you have a favorite snake?
Yeah, definitely. Black-headed python. I think it was the first snake I ever held. I remember went to Lone Pine. I was probably like 5 or 6, and I got to like hold a snake for the first time. This huge, like 2 meter long black-headed python, and since then, yeah, they're definitely my favorite snake species.
And they're not venomous?
No,
Yeah, I wouldn't have thought they'd let a young child hold an extremely venomous snake. But
definitely not.
we
Yes.
we hold some pretty venomous snakes in this country, though, don't we?
Yeah, yeah. I think it's all of the top 10 most venomous in the world. Might be slightly less, but at least like the top three or four most venomous in the world all live in this country. So
Wonderful. See, that's great news to know. But there's so many people that can do something about it. Like, you just got to be aware of it. I have a snake bite kit, in my first aid kit, which I think everybody should have in this country, just
definitely.
in case. But like, have you had any close calls with anything? Like, I know you probably hang around your snakes that are not venomous, and they probably don't bite like or don't hurt too much when it bites. But like, anything that's kind of scared you a bit?
Well, maybe once or twice. I've had a couple of close encounters with like one or two brown snakes. Like
Ooh.
you'll be walking through like pretty deep grass, and occasionally it like stops your heart for like a second. Like I'm not scared of like snakes in general, but still like when you take a step forward and something like zips past your foot, there's like
Yeah.
that split second of, oh, is that a brown snake? Am I gonna get bitten? But occasionally it's only been like pythons recently that I've seen, but like still there's a split second I take a step forward, something goes over my shoe, and like in the second when you're trying to figure out what species it is, it's a little nerve-wracking. And
Yeah.
then there was one particular incident. Again, I keep bringing my dad back into this,
No, it's
but
cool.
it was O'Reilly's again. We were walking down this track, and he steps over a red-bellied black without noticing it. It goes right between his legs and dashes off into a nearby bush, but it didn't even notice it, and it came really close.
That's insane. Are you wearing boots and stuff and long pants or?
I definitely should be. Um, no, usually I wear boots most time. I always take snake bandages with if I'm going for frogs, not so much birds because I don't like going to as many like bits of
Hmm.
long grass. But whenever I go for frogs, I'll take snake bandages and usually boots. Although occasionally, if I'm like just trying to get out of the house, I'll put Crocs on, which is probably not a good idea. Um, especially when I only find snakes when I'm going out for frogs. So
Yeah.
I know that it's not a good idea, but part of me is like, it should be fine, right? If anything goes really badly wrong, I have the snake bandages. So
Wow, you're so brave. I do tend to agree though, like I'm not very well known for wearing a lot of footwear most of the time. But Crocs tend to be my safety shoes.
definitely.
That's awesome, man. So let's wrap up. Do you have anything that you want to sort of talk about that's coming up, or where can we people go and find you, and where's best for them to find your work, apart from on Instagram where I saw it?
Yeah, at the moment, yeah, just my Instagram. Hopefully within the next like week or so, I want to get a YouTube channel up and running.
Cool. Well, it might
And
be up by the time this episode comes out, so if it is up, I will link it in the comments.
easy, yeah. But yeah, for now, that's pretty much it. I'll
Awesome.
hopefully have more stuff in the future, maybe a website, but all that's yeah, a lot further down the track. So for now, Instagram and maybe YouTube.
Brilliant. What an amazing young man Sam is. And thank you so much to him for his time to come on and share his passions with us. I'm sure if any others of you out there listening are in the sort of younger age brackets, you might have found a little bit of inspiration and ability to connect with Sam. Uh, Being, only in high school, it's amazing to see somebody that's just so keen to get out there and start sharing the passion and dispelling the myths and the fears that certainly somebody like I has around snakes and reptiles. So I'm very keen to follow along with Sam's journey and see where he ends up. Maybe we can touch base with him again in the future. Now, again, as always, please go and check out his links in the description below. You'll find all of the links that he has and maybe his YouTube channel as well if it's already out. And you can find all of what he's up to, including the websites that he recommended. So we've got the eBird and iNaturalist sites that you can use to go and do sightings and find sightings and upload your sightings and pictures and all sorts of things. So wonderful websites as well there. And yeah, last but not least from me, if you could give this show a rating, it would be extremely helpful to help others find this show. Any kind of rating would mean the world to me. So thank you so much again for watching. I'm very excited to see you again next week. Take care.